Welcome to the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast.
My name is Jen Clark.
And I'm Elka Clark. We are a mother-daughter team who started our Zazzle e-commerce businesses over 10 years ago and have sold $15 million and counting of products on Zazzle with our designs on them.
We had so many people asking us how we did this, so we created our signature course, the Profit by Design Academy, which teaches our 5 strategies for success on Zazzle.
When we aren't helping creative entrepreneurs just like you create profitable e-commerce businesses, we love cooking food from places all over the world that we've traveled to, jet setting to our next dream destination, spending quality time with our close friends and family, or having fun creating our next bestsellers in our Zazzle businesses.
In this podcast, we share actionable steps you, the creative, can take to make money in your e-commerce business on Zazzle. Each episode will take you one step closer to achieving freedom with your time, location, and finances.
We believe that you can have anything you dream of, as long as you work smarter, not harder. And we're here to give you the tools you need to make your dreams happen. Let's get started. Well, hey there, it's Elka, and welcome to another episode of the Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur Podcast. Again, I'm here flying solo. Jen is not feeling well, so I'm doing another episode on my own. And today's episode is near and dear to my heart because I am going to be talking about the secret to a 6-figure CEO mindset for Zazzle designers. And this aligns really well with our Creative CEO Mastermind. We have done these Creative CEO Masterminds now for a couple of years, and it's incredibly powerful and eye-opening and transformational in the sense that we forget as creative entrepreneurs when we first start a Zazzle business or any other kind of business, when we go out on our own, we forget that we have to develop all of these mindset things that allow us. We're like full on. We have the goals. We full on go, I want to make 6 figures. But how do we get there? And the discoveries that we make along the way in terms of what's holding us back or the things that we think we thought we knew or, things that have come out of the woodwork in terms of us having to deal with money blocks or worthiness blocks or any of those kinds of things, which really are, you literally even self-sabotaging your success. And until you figure those out and take these particular ways that I'm going to talk about here, 6, actually, there's so many, but I'm going to talk about 6, then things start to happen. Things start to shave off. Things start to become more like I'm getting goosebumps because it's happened so many times in these masterminds that we have. And now we're going to give you a little bit here, or we as in I, because I keep talking we, because Jen's usually sitting next to me. She's not okay. So she's got like a herniated disc. So it's not really painful. So we in these masterminds really lead that conversation and we help everyone who's in the mastermind get through these issues. And they take a little bit of time getting, chopping away at them and so on. So when you're listening to this podcast or you're watching this on YouTube, hello, make sure that you understand that you have to give yourself a lot of grace, a lot of time, and be really open to hearing some of these things that I'm going to talk about. The reason is because at first, just like with anything else, like you'd rather probably like never admit it and make a lot of fuss around it and it doesn't matter. It's not important. That's not the reason why. It's just because customers aren't buying, right? But it's incredibly powerful to understand ultimately that you as the person who's driving the business is the only one who is responsible for the business. Even if you're dependent on sales and all those variations and permutation and combinations, it's still ultimately you. And you have to step up as in that CEO 6-figure mindset in order to take the right actions, in order to even have the possibility of earning that. And as soon as you do, and these are the 6 key ones that I can pull out from our multiple sessions that we've done in the Creative CEO Mastermind, where these have been the most successful. So you get a little bit of a taste of what we do in the mastermind, but if obviously we're just going to list them and talk about them. We're not going to, help you go through them and whatnot. So I can't promise you that here. So if you do want that help, or you kind of recognize, gosh, that's me, and I really need to get someone to help me through this, then it's a welcome invitation to come and join us in one of these 6-month mastermind coaching sessions or programs. But I'm not here to sell. I'm just saying this is where this is coming from. And it's extremely effective. And it has been for the people that have worked with us and allowed us to dive deep with them and be kind and gracious and loving, so that the people who are going through this process, i.e. you maybe, can really truly allow it to happen rather than it just being defensive and no, that's not me. And then you're stuck, right? Then you're not going to be able to move forward. And the whole reason that we can't move forward is because we are stuck. And unless we do this really hard work, we're not going to get any further. Even if we, make so many products on Zazzle, because I'm like, if you're listening to this and you're going like, who is this person talking about mindset? And then I keep talking about Zazzle. Zazzle has been the most incredible opportunity for me to take a journey of self-discovery. And that is that Zazzle is a platform where I can post my designs, pictures, like photographs, artwork, typography, surface pattern designs, and I put them on digital products, which are like just digital in the space. And then when someone looks at it and likes my shoes or my occasions, invitations, or my, car mats, whatever Zazzle has, there's a whole bunch of stuff that you can post your designs on. And if someone buys it, then it becomes a physical product, because that's when Zazzle makes it. And in the meantime, in the digital space, it looks like I have a ton of inventory. And that inventory has been sitting there just multiplying, continuing to spread throughout the web, so to speak, for 14 years. Because as I build my product suite up, the products are still all there. And so I can have sales from something I made 10 years ago, which is so nice. It's allowed me to work 4 hours a month and still make a lot of money. And in fact, Jen and I together so far have made over $1.5 million on the Zazzle platform when we combine our earnings. And this is wonderful. Just absolutely wonderful. It's not even I've been doing 6 figures for years. And so, but I didn't always make 6 figures. When I first started, I made $90 in my first year. And then I made $2,300 or something in my second year. And then my third year, I finally kind of got the hang of it. And because I was creating my 5 strategies that I built up and use as a way to make money on Zazzle, because it's a business plan. And it's basically geared towards that 6-figure goal, right? And so in that third year, I started making $30,000. Then I made $65,000. Then I hit my $100,000 mark, or 6 figures for the year. And from then on, it was always 6 figures, and it was really lovely. And the key here is, though, that during that journey, it's not to say that that's how long it'll take you. I can't make any income statements, but the students who have gone through our training, first of all, the signature course that we have, and then also the mastermind group coaching, they have now hit $100,000 in a lot less time. And some of them hit $100,000 last year during COVID, which is phenomenal. And I really appreciate that they allow me to talk about their successes, so that you can understand that someone like Christine, who just made $100,000 last year during COVID, she was making $130 before she met us and before she got any of our training. And she did that in 2 years. And now in 3 years, she's made now it's almost up to 4 years that she's with us, and she's almost made $180,000. And it just keeps growing. And she's on track in 2021 to make $200,000 total, which is awesome. Now, the thing, though, that is what I want to tell you about that is there's a mindset shift. Whether, it takes me 4 years to do it, or Christine 3 years, it's just a mindset shift, right? It has to come along with the actions you take. But that mindset shift is huge. And because that mindset shift is also something that is required to take the actions. So speaking of all the things, now I think I've introduced it properly. I've introduced Zazzle. I've introduced my history. We have programs, obviously, that help other students do this. So you kind of feel like, hey, it's not just her. It's also people who have been involved in Jen and Alka's training that can get this thing to work and get to six figures. And we've got about 4 or 5 students now that are all, and we've been only doing this for like 3.5 years, but we've got about 4 or 5 students who are now hitting those six figures and even more. And then there's like a huge number in the wings that are about to, which is really fun. But they've all had to undergo these things that I'm going to talk about. So let's get started with those. Okay. So I'm going to list them first, and then I'm going to talk about each one individually and give you a little bit more of a heads up as to why I picked these 6. And there are also things that you can take away and start to work on yourself, like with yourself. You don't have to be part of a mastermind per se, but it certainly helps because then you have a coach to guide you and, kind of identify when you're kind of slipping, or also just keep you accountable and also give you the chance to be in a caring environment where you can actually deal with this, because it's going to hurt. I promise you that. I promise you that. It's not going to be fun, but it's going to be amazing when you come out the other side. Okay? Because honestly, you deserve to make money. And 6 figures, everyone keeps thinking, oh, 6 figures, 6 figures. That's actually not a lot of money. 7 figures is not even a lot of that money right now. But we as artists, especially if you're listening and you're came across us because you do know about Zazzle and you know that we're top sellers on the Zazzle marketplace and that we've been like really successful with our students, then you'll know that you'll be in that mindset that creators can't make money. And so 6 figures seems like a huge amount, but it's not. And so I want you to even just hear that today in this podcast, because things are changing. There are hundreds of thousands of millions of dollars, tens of millions, billions of dollars changing hands on the internet every single day. And then also, as much as we talk about all our success stories and so on, there's people on Zazzle making even more money. They just don't talk about it because they don't want you to, know what they're doing. But there's so much money changing hands, and it's up to you to decide where you fit in as a CEO. What do you want? What's your goal? Let's start with 6 figures, though, and give you some pointers for that. But remember, that's not the end goal. That's the beginning. And I want you to hear that, because we have faith in you that you are possibly in that position to soar in this particular platform so that you can just make as much money as you want to make. All right, but I obviously can't make any income claim statements. Okay, so let's move forward here. What are the 6 things that I'm going to give you today to help you to get into that $100,000 earning on Zazzle CEO mindset? Okay, so number 1, take 100% responsibility. I'm going to go through these in detail later, so I'm just going to list them now. Number 2, take massive action. So if you've got a pen and you need a pen and paper, just stop the podcast for a minute, grab a pen and paper, because this is going to be good. So let's repeat. Take 100% responsibility. That's number 1. Number 2, take massive action. Number 3, quickly turn barriers into obstacles. And I'll go into that in a minute so that you can easily overcome them. Number 4 is acknowledge the negative and then move into a positive mindset as soon as possible. That's a hard one, right? We're going to really touch on that one today. Then number 5 is conduct business from a place of joy and playfulness. And you'll go like, what the heck is she talking about? But it's true. It is part of the secret. And then number 6, continually invest in coaches and mentors who have achieved what you want to achieve. And it's not a sales pitch. It's a truth, because I needed along the way to invest in coaches and mentors. Even though there wasn't anyone that was specifically teaching about Zazzle, I invested in business coaches, and I invested in mindset and, well-being coaches so that I could move past all the things that I was carrying along as baggage initially, so that I could actually step into that role in a very positive way, and where I could take action steps confidently and clearly so that I could truly get to where I wanted to go in my business in terms of the goals. Okay, let's go through these separately. So number 1 was take 100% responsibility. And this comes from Jack Canfield, but it's everywhere. It's you literally need to show up and bring your A game, whatever you want to call it. But it just means you cannot just show up somehow a little bit. You have to show up all the way, and you have to take 100% responsibility for the actions that you take and also what happens in your business. And this is where people get tripped up. It's like, no. I did my best job and I should be owed this, or, it's not my fault that Zazzle platform is down, or, if it's not Zazzle, then if it's any other business, it's not fair that Joe took off for 4 days. It's not my job to take care of his, part of the business, or the internet crashed where I didn't have electricity one day. You still need to take 100% responsibility for the things that come at you in the business, as well as continuing to strive for the objectives, which are your earnings goals ultimately, right? I mean, there's other things too that could be your objectives, but the main thing is the cash flow. And so this is where everyone gets tripped up. And when Jack Canfield talks about it, he actually also says it's not even like we can go even further and talk about that our entire life is our responsibility, right? If we have someone who's a negative person in our space, it's because it's our responsibility that we've let them be there, right? And I'm going to just pause there for a minute, because when you're in that situation and you don't actually appreciate having this to deal with someone that's negative, just as an example, then the last thing you want to hear is that that's your fault, that person's bothering you. And instead, what you have to realize is it is your fault, because you have yet to decide what action to take to make that person go away, stop talking to you like this, or you have to decide how you're going to interpret that and how you're going to take it. Are you going to let that ruin your day? Are you going to just let them talk? Are you going to tell them to leave? You actually have that control. And so you are 100% responsible. It's a tough pill to swallow, I know, but ultimately when it comes to your business, it's the same. Even like, as I explained, if you're new to Zazzle or you don't know what Zazzle is and you're just listening to me as a podcast because you're trying to figure out how to have the CEO mindset for 6 figures, no matter what business you're in, anything that's disrupting your path to get to your goal is actually your responsibility. So either you attracted it, or you caused it, or you caused it because of inaction, or when it comes your way, you haven't acted in a way that would solve it. And that's why some of these other points are there as well. And the 100% responsibility is kind of like the overarching theme. And it also means that the key piece here is you have to be 100% invested. And it's not that you put in your money, it's personally, emotionally, you would rather spend another 2 hours working on it than go drink beer with the guys or go, do something with the girls, depending on who you are. But something where pleasure, or like not a responsibility. If you have to go pick up your kids from the babysitter, you're not going to work another couple hours. You'll work later when they're in bed sleeping. But that would be the same sort of investment, right? You're going to still make your business work even with life happening around you. And when something doesn't go so right in the business and it's not so fun, you still need to be 1,000% invested in this business to make it work and have that mindset that you believe in it. Because if you don't believe in it, no one else will. You're the solopreneur. And even if you have some staff working for you, you have to be the leader. You have to be the champion. And you can't all of a sudden go I'm having a bad day, or I'm going to quit, or whatever. These people depend on you. Not only if you're a leader in your company, you have employees, but also if your company has contracts with people, or you're selling on Zazzle and those people that want to buy your beautiful designs, they can't buy them if you don't step up to the plate and post them and make them as great as possible so that they're willing to buy them. So that just kind of brings it back to the Zazzle platform, but that's as plain and simple as it is. So you have to take 100% responsibility, and it's up to you to drive the business. Okay, so number 2 is take massive action. And obviously, if you're 100% responsible, then you will actually ultimately, just because you're invested, you'll take massive action. But sometimes what we forget is our impression of what massive action is actually still not massive action. It's just what we think is our best job. And what we now have to understand is that only successful people who actually take even more than massive action are the ones that are going to be successful, because it's not that you have to work forever and ever. It just means you're going to think very clearly and use whatever resources you have to understand what action to take. And it's really helpful too if you get a course or something like a training program like we offer, or you've got a coach where you can go like, is this the way to go? Like that's the first qualifier. But then if someone says, yes, this is the way to go, but then also ramp it up, then you know that that's the extra massive action you need to take. And sometimes we forget that because we kind of tire out, or we think we've done enough because of past experiences, but you're in new territory. You're here as an entrepreneur. And Thomas Edison didn't stop at the first light bulb and go like, okay, I gave it my best shot and it should work, right? I think it was at least 1,000 tries. And like, you could write that story over and say, okay, well, you have to fail so many times before you succeed. But I like being positive, and I like saying, okay, so I had to take a certain number of actions, even if they were repetitive actions, before I would get to where I need to go. And so that's what Thomas Edison did. He kept trying to make a new design of a light bulb, and then it finally worked. And so what you're doing is on the Zazzle platform, you're posting intentional, targeted products, but they still might not be that light bulb. They might be, you might have to do it 10 more times or 1,000 more times. And that's that massive action, because you're not going to give up until it works. Even though you're not just like throwing spaghetti against the wall and trying to see if it sticks, you're not doing just stuff. You're literally doing very intentional work, but it still may not work. And that means that you should not give up, but you should continue to take more massive action until you get it to work. And then you know that's how it works. If you ask anyone who's successful, you go like, how the heck did you know what to do? And the answer is always, I didn't. I just took a lot of massive action and something worked. And then I went with that worked. And that's what you're doing with taking massive action. Okay. And as I mentioned already, you can can help yourself by signing up with a mentor to help you through that, so that they can guide you and you don't have to fail so many times before you get a result. And also just trying different options and making sure that you don't give up before it's before you really should. And that's the key here to the massive action. All right. Number 3, quickly turn barriers into obstacles so you can easily overcome them. And this is like, what does that mean, right? Everyone keeps telling me that, but I'll explain. So let's take an example that's Zazzle related. Zazzle's been doing some updates. When you're listening to this podcast, you'll listen to it in about 2 weeks' time. They just installed, I'm doing this on May 14th, 2021. They just installed a whole bunch of changes. They look awesome, but there's always some like bugs and things that have to be worked out whenever there's new software, right? Or changes to the software. And that's just a given if you're in the internet space online. But that could be a barrier for you right now, because maybe you can't post products, or you post them and then they disappear, or you've posted them but then certain things aren't showing, or you can see them in your store but you can't see them in the marketplace, or you can't see them in the marketplace but you can see them in your store. You know what? Those are all very common barriers to getting to your goal of making money, right? And yet, instead of making those easily overcomable obstacles, we like to sit in the barrier because it's comfortable. We start to blame Zazzle. We get all upset. We go on the forum. We write long things. This is not fair. How come they keep doing changes? When will they ever stop? So we look externally for places where we can verbalize and take our displeasure, because we feel comfort in that, because it's hard for us to move past that into the part where we have to take massive action to compensate or to overcome those barriers and make them obstacles that are easily taken care of. Sometimes that's because we don't actually know what to do. And other times it's like, oh, that means we can't just sit in our comfort zone and just blame somebody else. And as a CEO, like if you were responsible to a boss, the boss would go like, well, why didn't you get it done? And you give them all excuses and the boss goes, that's not good enough. Whereas when we're the CEO, there is no boss to say that to us or say that to them. We are the boss. And so when we let ourselves get away with a lot of issues or things that we shouldn't because we liked it, then it's okay. We can just talk about how it's a problem and we just have to maybe go and do something fun, walk away. There's no urgency. Whereas to be a good CEO, to make six figures, first of all, that means you have to make at least calculation for 60,000 a year, which is 167 a day. So the other one is if I want to make 100,000 a year and I divide that by 365 days a year, means I have to make almost $274 a day every single day, right? And if Zazzle's down for a week, let's say, just as an example, so that means I've lost $2,000. As a CEO, I have to make that up somehow. And if I just sit there and go, I'm going to just wait a week and my money's not coming in, then I don't get paid my 100,000, right? So that's a barrier because it's a barrier to me achieving my goal. So what can I do instead? Well, for the Zazzle example, you can promote on Pinterest. You can spend your time elsewhere. You can create new designs. You can create more photography, take more pictures and put it up for your photography. Or you can create more watercolors or acrylics or surface pattern designs. There are ways to overcome or like to move the barrier, creating obstacles, which then you can overcome, which in this case, the obstacle is now to do something else, which you can do. And then you have the impression again that that barrier that was there initially, I can't work on Zazzle right now. Then you are going to put things into place, taking massive action, that as soon as it's possible to do that again, you're going to compensate for that because that's another obstacle, right? Your obstacle is I'm down $2,000. So now you have to make that up. But that's possible by doing the things that we talk about and teach in our 5 strategies. And so that's how you turn a barrier, which is like full stop, I can't work, can't make money, to I can make this work in various ways. I just need to do that route now. And I just wasn't ready to do that because I didn't have that in my plans, but now I can do this anyway. And I have several options. And so it goes from a full stop to, well, I could do this instead. And that would actually drive traffic, make more money, just in a different way than I anticipated or thought that I should be doing my job. That's really important that you switch that around because it also takes away like the it empowers you because you're no longer worried about you can't do anything. It allows you to say, I could do this though. And that's the switch, right? Barriers, I can't do anything. And the obstacles are, but I could do this. It's just going to be either a little bit harder or it's not what I planned or might not be the most direct way, but I have options and those might turn out to be quite lucrative.
Have you heard about the Creative CEO Mastermind yet? It is for you, the creative online entrepreneur who is struggling to make the money on Zazzle that you want so you can do big things like quit your 9-to-5 job or have a second income to help you through these uncertain times.
The Creative CEO Mastermind is a 6-month coaching program with us, Jen and Elka Clark, the Zazzle experts that will help you create a 6-figure income plan, build your confidence, and give you the clarity needed so that you can crush it in your Zazzle business. Because you will embrace your inner CEO and become the badass CEO that you are meant to be.
Head on over to the show notes for the link to get more information on how you can apply. Now let's get back to the show.
The next one is acknowledge the negative and then move into the positive mindset as soon as possible. And this is a really important one. I've heard this many times from executives. And they say, there's people always saying, how did you do this? How do you become so successful and manage these like worldwide companies and so on? And a lot of the executives say, I didn't dwell too long in the negative. And that actually an executive's success rate depends on how quickly he or she can move out of the negative and into a positive. Let me explain. So it's a little bit tied in with, let's say, this example from Zazzle, where it's like, okay, it's been frustrating, you can't work on Zazzle, and so on. So you can get yourself into a real mood, especially as artists and creatives. We get emotional and we take it personally. And so then we have to talk it out, maybe even. And when that happens, all that time is then spent doing that rather than just saying, oh, I could just pin on Pinterest instead and just drop the negative, move it to a positive and go like, that's something useful. I could do that. And your mindset switches. You no longer are dwelling on, man, it's frustrating and overwhelming that I always have to pick up and do more work after when Zazzle gets back to its normal keel. That kind of thing. It's taking all that negative language and saying, I could do something positive here. And it really isn't like there's issues, but I can manage them. I'm in control. I'm empowered. And that's part of the switch from negative to positive. And that allows you in a positive mindset to actually get things done. And also, if you're in the law of attraction sphere where you believe that, and I do actually, then you are going to be in much more of a position where you feel better about what you're doing. And so you'll have more attraction of positive energy rather than negative. And this will help you be more efficient. It'll attract more opportunities to you, and it will just not allow you to stay stagnant and in a fearful state, because that's what you're doing when you're being negative, is you're fearful that you won't be able to fix it or catch up. But that's a false fear, because we already were not able to control it in the first place. It was just now that someone's changed our perception of what we thought was the way it was going to happen, that we have now decided that it belongs in the fear-based category and we should have the ability to be angry about it, which is not true at all. You don't have to be angry about it. You just have to go like, oh, that happened. What can I do about it instead? Because I have to switch gears. That's staying in the positive. That's actually more productive, and it allows you just to continue working in that joy and love phase, which is actually the next thing, number 5. And that will allow you to be at your best, because all the negative allows you to be at your worst. And you as the CEO and also as the production manager, the doer, the marketer, the promoter, the whatever you want to do in terms of financing, you run the whole show because you're an entrepreneur, and therefore you are not able to have the luxury of just dwelling in all this negative stuff, because no one else is working if you're not working. And so it can't be that you stay in these negative spaces too long. You have to be in that positive mindset frame in order to be able to actively and productively run your business. Okay, so let's move into number 6 or 5. Conduct your business from a place of joy and playfulness. So whether you believe in the law of attraction, I've already mentioned that, or manifestation, they play a part no matter what. Whether it's, you're aware of it or not, or you believe it, or do anything to make it work, just by your actions, you are manifesting. And if your actions are negative and you aren't operating in a place of joy and love and playfulness, then you're on the opposite spectrum and you're acting out of fear, anger, depression, anxiety, all those wonderful feelings, especially us empaths get because we're creative and we're very attuned to things. And we kind of feel the need to get there every so often just to kind of, because that's part of who we are. So we have to work even harder as creatives to move ourselves into this playfulness, even though as creatives, we should be thriving in the joy and playfulness, and yet we don't. And it's really hard because we've had so many times in our lives where we have been downtrodden in that, creatives don't make money, can't make money being creative, get a real job, or someone tries to buy something from you and really puts it down in your end of value. And you go like, okay, I'm only worth $50 because that's all they paid me for my painting or something. So you're coming from that place, which is a real place for you. You are experiencing that in your reality right now. And what you haven't experienced yet is the joy and playfulness of being able to just do something and have it sell on Zazzle, or do something and have it sell for like millions of dollars on whatever, eBay or gallery or whatnot. And so there's a lot there that you have to overcome. It's not that you're a bad person or that you have issues. It's just that you've had that experience, and that experience is really giving you a lot of weight as to like this, to tell you, I can't be playful and joyful. How is that possible? I'm not making money, right? That's what's going on in your head. And it's a very valid statement, but it's only once you switch and you go like, you almost lying a little bit to yourself, because you need to bring yourself into the playful and joyful area of your life, as much as the intellectual part of your brain is going like, that's nuts. But you have to connect. And this goes along with the law of attraction and so on. You have to connect to that energy, that vibration of the playfulness and joyfulness and the love. Then that's when you are the best at your creativity. That's when you're going to create the best designs. That's when you're going to know that you've got a bestseller. That's how I made my bestsellers. I was really forcing it at one point, and it just didn't work. I made thousands of designs and posted thousands of products. And I can even look at them now and go like, you were not in a good, playful, joyful state when you made this. You were just in a desperate state. You were fearful that you wouldn't be able to make a sale. And it shows. And the reason that my things are selling now is because I did something like, well, I'm just going to have fun tonight because I'm really stressed out with this and I just want to play on Zazzle, and I'm going to do it the way I want to do it and make it the way I would buy it. And sure enough, that those designs are the ones that become my bestsellers. And so you have to be kind to yourself and let yourself play, because you know actually what you need to do. It's just that your conscious mind, with all its logic, is telling you no, 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 because you've heard it so many times that you're not able to make money doing certain things. Now, obviously, there's things that you have to bring into it, like the training that we do with the 5 strategies, that'll help you. And then the other training that we do in our Z Supercharger, for example, it'll help you understand customer behavior, because you may like something. And that's another mindset that I didn't list here, but like, you have to get over your artist ego. You might like something and you think it's the most amazing thing. And you get this validation from your family because like, I love it. I'm going to put it in my bathroom. But really, it's nothing different than someone else's, or it actually is really bad. And it's just that your family is too afraid to tell you that it's not so good. And so that is a component. And you have to remember that you have to deliver on what people would open their wallets for, like swipe their credit card on or put their phone up for Apple Pay. But the idea here is that people will purchase and give you money if you serve them well. And the way you can serve them well is be playful and joyful when you're creating your designs, so that you can, and this is Zazzle based, but I'll talk about it like a non-Zazzle based business in a minute, but so that you can, through your design, communicate that to the person that's buying it. They'll go like, I don't know about, why I like this, but it's just so much fun, or I just love this. And even if it's a serious design, it's just, you kind of like tapped into what they wanted, and they're always looking for that one thing, but they can't really describe it. And you put it into a design. You know how some people go like, you just said that exactly how I keep thinking it, and I could never put it into words. That's what you're doing. You're making a connection with the other people. And in this case, you're a customer, that you're bringing this joyful playfulness to your design process. And then that's being delivered out into these products that you're posting up for sale. And then someone's going to see that and they're going like, that's exactly what I was looking for. But I could never really like explain why I wanted, like what I wanted. But this person just did it. And then of course that person will buy your stuff. And that's happened to me so many times over and over again, but only when I've been playful and joyful in my design process. Now, what about if you're it's not just the design process, but you're running your company, and whether that's your Zazzle business or if you're running any other company, the key here is there has to be a playfulness and a joyfulness, because the joy comes from being excited and appreciative of the fact that you are either in this business, if you haven't even made any money, like you have to always find the good. Like the opportunity is amazing. even if you haven't made any money, this is going to change my life, all that stuff. And then even if you're making money, you go like, wow. And maybe it's not as much money as you want, but you're making money. You go like, I'm so grateful for this money. If you're right away going like, yeah, this is great business, but it's not making what I want, that's negative. And that's not coming from a place of joy. Instead, the place of joy is, it's already working. I'm so amazed. It's the same as when you get even to a point where if you should be joyful of every second you're on the earth because you're breathing and you're functioning, right? That's a joy. It's a miracle, actually. And people who are not healthy will tell you that you sitting, listening to this in your car or on your couch, you're functioning at this point pretty much at like 95 to 98% healthiness, and others are not. And then they're going to be so joyful and happy, even with their like less than perfect functioning. And we don't even consider it because it's not bothering us. It's only when we start getting things taken away from us when we realize that we should be joyful and happy about what we have. And so we have to bring that joyfulness into our business right at the start instead of only when we're missing it. And that will allow us to look at our business in a different way. It'll allow us to help give us different decision-making opportunities. And it will also create a great culture in your business. Even if you're an employee of one, you'll have fun in your business because it's a joy for you to do, right? It's not a chore. It's not, a slog. It's just a joy because you're doing something that you never dreamt you could do. A lot of the people who come through a lot of our programs, whether it's one or all, we have a lot of repeat buyers. They say that one of the key things is when they're finished working on all these mindset things, they are so grateful because they feel empowered, not only that they can do it, but that they now realize that they were holding themselves back because they didn't even dream that big or dream at all. And that's powerful because now they can be in a place of joy because now they're allowing themselves to do what they want to do. And so even if you're having a bad day in your business, always remember the joy in your business. And then the playfulness is not just because like, let's have Nerf gun fights in the office, which is fun, but it's more than that. It's giving yourself permission to fail. Thomas Edison, he's not like, I don't know him personally, but like if someone is constantly moving forward towards a goal and it fails consistently over and over again, and the person is still willing with the same good attitude to keep going, that's playfulness because they're just saying, well, it didn't work, so I'll try this. I'll try this. I'll try that. It eliminates that whole, fear monster that people are like sitting on their shoulder. I remember those commercials where the good person, like the good angel's on one shoulder, the devil's on the other shoulder, and they go like, do it, don't do it, do it, don't do it. That's fear-based, right? Whereas when you're playful, even though you obviously keep an eye on the prize for your ability to make the money that you want to make, you're playful and you say, well, let's just try it anyway. Let's do this. Because if we don't, we won't know whether it worked or not. So rather than being fear-based in terms of your decision-making process, be playful and allow yourself to, as I mentioned with the students that have gone through this program and the coaching program, they weren't allowing themselves to be playful. Like if someone said to them, you could make X number of dollars just to keep it under the dot, like because this is all about money, this episode, but it could be for anything. But if someone said to you, you could do this and you go, oh no, so no, then you're not playful. If you just like get this twinkle in your eye and you go like, I could, like that's playful. And it's not irresponsible. It's playful. And so I hope that explanation gives you enough to understand the difference. And obviously, we have to go into it in more detail if you're in one of our Creative CEO Masterminds. But that's about all I can say about it for here, because this is becoming a long podcast. And then the last thing, number 6, is the continually invest in mentors and coaches that have achieved what you want. If you want to learn how to play basketball and you want to be in the NBA, you're not going to get your neighbor's son to tell you how to shoot hoops. You're going to go and get the best coach that's taught other NBA players, and you're going to like work your butt off, right? And that's how you do it. So why would you even consider getting help from nowhere or from like a little like an easy self-help article where the person who's giving that advice is made, $600 and you want to make six figures? That's not going to be the help you need. You need to go with coaches that have made the six figures or more so that they can teach you so that you don't take so long to do it. Because you can always do it on your own, but then you have to carve out your own journey, and you have to also do the Thomas Edison thing where you have to fail so many times. Whereas coaches and mentors actually help reduce that time window of the failure and allow you to succeed much quicker. And that's coming to be very obvious with the students that we have, where they're succeeding and surpassing all of our achievements like incredibly well, because they've gotten that window shortening because of the investment that they made with our coaching program. Okay. Now, the other thing that you have to understand is that you're made up, like you become pieces of the six closest people to you. So if you are one person that has this idea that I'm going to make money online, being a Zazzle designer, and then everyone around you goes like, no, you need to get a day job, or, why are you still working at 5:00 at night when it's quitting time? Or if you're like, they go like, you're wasting your time. You're only making $600. I made $1,000 this week because I got paid. I got a real job. That's a lot of pressure on you. And it's all from people that are not people that are going to help you. They're not going to be like, you can still love them if they're your husband or your brother or your wife or your son or daughter. You're still going to love them, but you're not going to take their business advice because they're not six-figure online CEOs. And so you need to have people around you that are either striving for the same thing or achieving the same thing. And then that's how you're going to get more action and getting closer to that goal that you've got of six figures and your mindset shifts that you have to make. So that's really important. So don't reinvent the wheel. Learn from people who've already done it to save time. And then also make sure that you keep yourself around people that are going to speak your language like for your business and also have the same goals in mind or have already achieved them. There's a really famous saying that if you're in a room of people and they can't teach you anything, then you're in the wrong room. You should always be the one in the room that knows the least. And the people in the room that you're with should know more as to what you need to do to get where you're going next. And so that's very, very important to remember that. And it's worth that investment because otherwise you won't make that shift. Like I always say, I can't make any income claim statements, but I can definitely guarantee that you won't move ahead if you don't invest in yourself, surrounded by people who are actually helping you get to that mark that you want, in this case, six figures, and also who are providing a different kind of environment for you so that you can thrive in that and be playful and joyful in your actions. Okay. And then just to let you know, like I personally also have invested in multiple different coaches and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars actually, and it's paid off. And like, I'm actually still like uncomfortable when I say that because every time I paid any sort of coaching program, it was like, I was like shaking. It's like, did I really just put that much on my Visa cards or multiple Visa cards? And every single time I've gotten my money back because like in tenfold, because I have invested in myself and I knew that those were the right coaches to invest. And they've more than paid, like I've more than paid for that investment. So it might seem scary at the beginning. It always is when you're doing something new, but the investment is really important. And that's not just because I would like you to be in the Creative CEO Mastermind. It's actually what every successful person says. They have like a fitness coach, a mindset coach. They have a business coach. They have a marriage coach. When you want to be successful in something, you get a coach or you get a mentor. The coach guides you and the mentor actually has done what you want to achieve, which is actually what Jen and I are. Even though the two words get like shifted around and people think they're the same thing, but we're actually both because we can guide you, we can assist you, we can keep you going, we can keep you accountable, we can kick your butt, but we also are mentors because we've been there, we've done that, we've actually accomplished what you want to accomplish, and we've gone way beyond that. And so that's a good person to sign up with if that's what you want to do. All right, so let's recap just to make sure that you got everything. In order to get to that six-figure CEO mindset, especially for Zazzle designers, because that's where we come from and we have the most experience with that. But these are general things that you can apply to any type of business where you want to become a CEO that's making six figures a year or more, is to take 100% responsibility. That's number one. Take massive action. I'm looking at my list. That's number two. Quickly turn barriers into obstacles so that you can easily overcome them. Acknowledge the negative and then move into the positive mindset. That's number four. Number five, conduct business from a place of joy and playfulness. And number six, continually invest in coaches and mentors who have achieved what you want to achieve. So that's the end of this episode. Can you tell that it's near and dear to my heart? It's not just that I'm trying to get you to be in the mastermind. I am actually, because I think that's where you need to be if you feel that you want to get there, want to get to the six-figure CEO mindset so you can have a six-figure plus business. The point though is I've been through this journey. I've literally struggled for 4 years, quit my day job where I was making $100,000. Don't do that. Do it as a side hustle first, and then when you're making $100,000, then quit. But I did that because I thought, this can't be too hard. I can do this. I'm doing really well corporately. But when I switched to being an entrepreneur, I was very ill prepared. I didn't have any training. I wasn't ready. And I experienced embarrassment, shame, overwhelm, frustration, anger, you name it, everything on the list of all the negative things you can possibly think of, because I put myself in that situation. Now, I still had that goal. I always wanted to make $1 million and prove everyone wrong that I could make money being creative. And I'm doing that now, but it was only after I took 100% responsibility for whatever happened in my business, took massive action, quickly turned barriers into obstacles that were achievable and fixable. And then I acknowledged the negative, but then quickly moved into positives. And then I also conducted business from a place of joy and happiness and playfulness. And then I actually still continue to invest in coaches because there's always more to learn, and also mentors. And that has allowed me to just thrive and keep striving for bigger and bigger goals. So the CEO six-figure mindset is actually just the beginning for you. And I hope, I truly believe that for you, because I thought that was my end goal back then as well. And since then, it's like, I could do more. I can do this. And I just feel so empowered, but it's only because I did these 6 things and more. But these are really great ones to start with. You've got to start with these for sure. So thank you so much for listening or watching another Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur podcast. And we will see you next time. Hopefully Jen will be back. And if not, I'll be here to give you more aha moments so that you can thrive in whatever business you're dealing with, or when you're trying to become that next Diamond Pro designer on Zazzle, which is a really great thing to strive for. And yeah, it was really fun to get to 500,000, but I'm actually on my triple diamond. I'm almost at 1.5 million, which is going to be really good. So it's always another goal, and it's exciting as a journey. So I hope that you're inspired by this podcast. Thank you so much for listening to The Creative and Ambitious Entrepreneur with Jen and Elka Clark.
We hope this episode has given you actionable steps to start and scale your Zazzle business so that you can have the passive online income to have location and time freedom to live your dream life.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to subscribe, rate, and review the podcast. Each review helps us reach more creative entrepreneurs like you working to create a profitable e-commerce business.
And don't forget to take a screenshot and share it on your Instagram stories and tag us at Miss Jen Clark and at Elka Clark. We'd love to hear your biggest takeaways from today's episode. See you back here next week.